Hello and welcome to everybody into this amazing session that we are going to experience for all of us. Right now, we are live on our Facebook page that is in CKH Network. So we are requesting all of you to share from the Facebook page CKH Network so that all of us, our friends, families, and well-wisher colleagues, they can also watch together with us. So let me welcome to this program, definitely our co-host, our friend, business partner, Ranjan de Silva and Tanzi Usoof. So all of you know Ranjan, definitely, but it's a customary just to introduce a brief for the audience on the Facebook, those who don't know. Ranjan is in this training and development industry last 20 plus years. He's from Sri Lanka, all of you know, and he's in Bangladesh since 2001. So since he came in as a consultant for Agora. So since then he's in and he's been doing this amazing work for leadership development. And also all of you know that he is actually bearing the torch of NLP inside Bangladesh and also the many of the countries around the world, namely in Asia and also in Middle East, almost 24 nations. And with us, Ranjan, Tanzi is here. Tanzi is also a seasoned human resource professional walking into this industry, I think about 20 years. She's doing her PhD on mindfulness, and she also worked for Stephen Covey as well in his core team in Sri Lanka and India. So both of them bringing a wealth of experience in terms of developing teams, leadership in the space of organizations development, and all of you know, last 20 years plus on. It's my immense pleasure to welcome both Ranjan and Tanzi into this program. And please help me to welcome our co-partner and host of tonight's game-changing program. This is your host, CoachKamrul Hasan. Welcome, Ranjan and Tanzi.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Tanzi and Ranjan. So in Bangladesh, I think everybody knows that, Ranjan, you are doing this, mind-blowing NLP work, like NLP. You have introduced NLP in Bangladesh back in 2001-2. And since then, you are working for a lot of organizations. So let's talk about what brought you in Bangladesh and how did you get in and how did you actually evolve this journey? We want to hear from Ranjan and Tanzi both, because both of you are working in Bangladesh and on and off last 20 years. So let's begin the journey with the beginning of your journey in Bangladesh. Who wants to begin? Ranjan or Tanzi?
Sorry, I think I started talking without the mic.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it's such a pleasure to be here, and thank you so much, CoachKamrul, for arranging this session. It's always a pleasure being with you. And this is part of the world tour that we are doing for Gearing Up for Excellence. Today is the 7th session. We have done the show in Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Maldives, India was yesterday. We got Singapore already covered. We had a special show for the Sri Lankan community in Bangladesh a few days ago. And it's going on, and we have coming up UK, USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, all lined up. And it's amazing the response we are having from around the world. So it's like coming back home doing this session, because as CoachKamrul said, I've been in and out of Bangladesh for the last 20 years, and so lovely to be here. So we'll talk about NLP and the process later, but I'd like to quickly introduce myself based on my purpose of life, because I don't want to go through the CV. It's all there in the websites. If you just do a Google, you can find out. My purpose of life is to help others find their purpose and live a purposeful life based on their own evolving realities, beliefs, values, and methods that they use. And to do this, I have selected and I'm attempting to live by 5 values, which are to be authentic in everything I do, empathetic towards other living beings, not just human beings, living beings, which we have really awakened to a lot after the pandemic, to be humble, passionate, and selfless. So I will say yes to any opportunity that comes my way to sow the seeds of purpose in the hearts and minds of people, so that we can all together create ripple effects which makes this world a better place. So later we will go into the NLP and various structures. I'll invite my colleague Tanzi now perhaps to give a self-intro. Yep.
Right. So just to add with you, Ranjan, I think for our viewers, a lot of people are now watching at the same time. 36 people have joined with us in the Facebook.
Yeah.
And if we can switch off the other's voice, could have been better. Ranjan is also doing the PhD. Just to introduce.
I mean, mute everything, please.
Yeah, if we can mute everyone else, only Tanzi, Ranjan. Other than that, let's mute everyone, please. So Ranjan is also doing PhD. If you can mute from the back office, that would be better. Perfect. So Ranjan also doing his PhD in purposefulness. So that's amazing to have his views on purpose, definitely. And before that, so let's bring Tanzi on the screen. And why not we have her, what's been happening around in Sri Lanka and over the last 20 years. Tanzi, if you just could briefly just tell us about yourself and your journey.
All right. Okay, so taking on from where Ranjan left off, when I first wrote my purpose, it was quite a few pages long. But in the years, it's kind of evolved. And now what I carry with me is a single line or two. And that not just carries my purpose in life, but it also carries my value system with me. And it's very simple. It says to live, which means to live to the fullest, to love, which means to love those who come into contact with me and those beyond it as well, to learn, just like CoachKamrul, like to have a constant thirst for learning new things, to give. Almighty has blessed us with so much, and to give back to society, to give back to humanity, and to give back to the earth, and to leave a meaningful legacy so that the world is a better place. So that not just covers my purpose, but it's also my value system. And sometimes in life, things happen and you really don't know why things happen. And a few years back when I started my PhD, my whole focus was on mindfulness and how it impacted our learning and the continuation of learning. And at that point, I didn't know why it was something that hit my mind. But today, as we go through the pandemic, as we go through the lockdowns, when people are isolated and struggling to make meaning of it, the fact that, I have studied mindfulness and practiced it is helping me help a lot of people and also live my life in a more meaningful way. So I guess, Almighty knows best, and he lets things into your life and you don't know why it walks into your life until, there's a situation when you need to use it. So that's me.
Fantastic. So a lot of people already started to join with us. I think right at this moment, about 51 of them are watching in the Facebook. Welcome everybody. And I think this is a global and a platform. We are having the resources from all over the world. And today, the amazing two resources from the Asia who are actually inspiring all over the world. And why not taking a chance, an opportunity to interact together and put your question, comments, and say hello to everybody, and let's build a community together. And all of you know that NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, so we are going to hear from the pioneer of NLP, I would say, because it is Ranjan who has actually initiated this NLP and his amazing things in Bangladesh. So let us bring the concept and the fundamentals of NLP, how and when it has begun, and how the journey being so far, and how it takes to bring somebody from where they are to where they want to be, using NLP as a tool, techniques and process and methodologies, which you have been tested time and over again. Ranjan and Tanzi is open. Let's start the discussion from the very beginning.
Thank you
of
so much.
NLP.
Yeah, so what we'll do is maybe to take a little back step. We all are, right now our mindset is with regard to the current reality of the pandemic. We're also thinking about what the new normal is going to be. What are we doing right now? How are we preparing for the future? So in that thing, I like to, before talking about NLP, which is coming immediately, kind of all of us together try to find out what is the new reality like. So please do comment on it, and it's nice to see Asma having your son here listening to us as well. Welcome. Nice to see you. What's your name, little one? You can type your name as well. Okay. Asma is from Pakistan.
Name is Farhad.
Yeah, hi. Farhad.
Okay.
Asma
Okay.
is from Pakistan. She's our partner there, so she's coming as well. Welcome. We got from Sri Lanka some. So it's kind of a nice South Asian audience, Bangladesh here. This is lovely. So what we will do is, if I may invite Tanzi to speak a little from a more spiritual point, the overall meaning we make about the pandemic. And as you do that, please type in the chat the type of challenges you're facing in the short term, in the long term, so that our responses, whatever NLP we are teaching, will be suited to your issues itself. So,
right.
Yeah.
I think that's very good way to begin. So inviting the issues that all of us are now facing around us, family, the business, the job, and the crisis that we talked about. So what are the issues that you want us to address and help you to overcome? So if anyone can jump into the things that you want to share with us, you're most welcome. Tanzi, so why not you begin? So what are the things that you want to share with us? I think a lot of questions we usually get is the uncertainty, the fear. So and how to deal with the present crisis affecting us internally inside. We are afraid of the future. So how you want to deal about it?
All right. So something that over the years we have done since the Spanish flu, which was exactly 100 years ago, after a while, people have such short memories that we went back to our old greedy ways of living, and we started affecting the earth, Mother Nature, even humanity in ways that were not acceptable. So I guess the universe or Almighty decided to send us little warnings like the SARS pandemic that we had, or the bushfires, or the earthquakes, or the tsunamis. But human beings did not heed. We were not listening. And then Almighty or the universal energy decided to send a bigger pandemic, so that people started to stop and listen. So while, yes, there is an economic downturn, yes, there is, uncertainty, yes, there is fear, it has also brought all of these positivities amongst us. So from a macro perspective, I saw this wonderful post that says, the earth is closed for maintenance. And it's so true, because look at the air, it's cleaner. In Sri Lanka, you can really feel a difference in the air. And if you remember, just before the pandemic hit China, it was almost a situation where you couldn't breathe in China. The air was so polluted. And this was, Almighty's way of telling us, okay, I need to clear the air, but the only way I can clear the air is to let all the other animals out, but cage you human beings. And that's what we've done. Right? The ozone layer is repairing. And hopefully with that repairing, the temperatures will start, reducing. The glaciers have reduced melting. And the animals, they say that, animals that were assumed to be extinct in certain areas have started showing up. So, well, I guess, you know, the earth is healing, the animals are regenerating, trees are regenerating, carbon monoxide is going down, the air is clearing up. And when we come out of this pandemic, we can use a new way to live. And on a micro level, we've had to spend much more time with our families. We've all been like hamsters in a hamster wheel, running. We never stop. It's not just the adults, even the kids, you know, you send them to school, then they have sports, then they have, you know, extracurricular activities, they have all kinds of things. That we all are so busy that we don't have time to speak to the ones we love most, our family. But this pandemic, while it has also caused some chaos, has required us to learn to live with our families again, learn to communicate with each other, learn to be more tolerant with each other. So it's created this new era for us. Family values have become more important. And people have gone into new things, tried out new things, new ventures have started. So on the surface, though we see a lot of, you know, negativity, which is fed to us by the press as well, the reality is the outcome of this pandemic has so many positives, and we just have to embrace it. And the earth would, like, we were preparing for it, even though we did not understand things like, you know, Zoom and Microsoft Teams and online payment systems. So all in place so that we could actually continue to work and let the earth heal as well. So when you look at it from a spiritual perspective, who are we to understand what's happening? Because it's determined by a much more higher power, and we have to embrace that and accept it. But it's also created lots of, I guess, psychological challenges, you know, behavioral challenges and attitudinal challenges. So those are what let's deal with, help deal with those. Yeah, over to you, Kamrul.
So with this, can I invite everyone just to type one word? So what is the one positive thing happening with you? Apart from the challenges, can we have the comments, like only one word, and then we can see who is actually having this one word in a positive way, impacting you, affecting you, you're dealing with. You are actually thinking it is a blessings. In what way? Because we have the blessings in many ways to think about new way, family relationship. So what are our audiences thinking? We see right now about 40 plus is watching with us. So I want to welcome everybody just to share one positive word, and let's see. Esrat Habib, Esrat Jahan Bani, can you just type in Habib? Can you also just participate? And Khalid Saifullah, Sohana Firdaus, Abdur Razak. Abdur Razak's speaking style is very beautiful. Okay, thank you. So what is the one positive thing with you happening during this pandemic? Specifically one word. Sohana Firdaus, Anamika, can you just type in one word? And let's see, also from the Zoom session, what are the words coming in? I have become an awesome chef. Oh, wow, fantastic. Okay, it's from Tanzi. Okay, fantastic. Rajwana Nahid, welcome to this program. Rajwana, we are just inviting to have your one word. What is actually positive happening with you? I know that you're coming up, you know, you are having your life, you're enjoying your life. A lot of things are happening. So what is the one word you want to share with this audience? So let's see. We want to have, who wants to just jump into? Okay, Ranjan. So why not you begin as well?
Let's start off, yeah.
Yep.
So
right.
I think before there was a message on my watch party. Actually, I've gone on watch parties, and so therefore, if there's any questions on Facebook Live, you can bring it to me. I'm not looking directly at that. Shiran Veerasinghe asked the question, what is NLP? I'll talk about it in a little while. But meanwhile, I think a lot of positives were said, and that is basically the beginnings of NLP, to think positive about what's going on. It's about acceptance, positivity, acceptance of going on. And if you start doing that, the anxieties you have, when we talk to each other, so we have doing business with others without physical presences. I mean, but still we have issues where we can't meet people face to face. Sometimes you're angry at what's going on. You're anxious. Sometimes your habits have got messed up, I'm sure. Sleeping times, sometimes eating. We are overeating sometimes. So there's a discipline issue. So I think, and if you really look at it, all these are governed by our brain. Based on the attitudes, habits, beliefs we have, it's governed by the brain. And so to answer the question, this is the question Kamrul asked earlier, what is NLP? I was going to talk about it. We set the stage a bit. Shiran asked the same question. So now let me talk about NLP. So if you take the three words, neuro, N is
okay,
neuro.
Ranjan, can I add?
Please, yeah. You want to say something?
Yeah, Suranjit Godagama from Sri Lanka says something he has seen is the compassion that people have towards each other.
Yeah, so there's more compassion which has happened.
Yes.
It's all positive.
Yes.
Yeah. And this is lovely. When you come to these Zoom sessions, you see people talking about positives, which is, so there's a vibe going around. Very little people. Earlier Zooms, like a month ago, remember CoachKamrul, when we did this, people all talking about challenges. Now more and more people are talking positives. Hopefully the work we are doing, CKH network, Sensei, all of us is creating some of that positive vibe, which is great. But sometimes deep inside, you have negativity, you have emotions. So neuro-linguistic programming, what is it? Neuro is nervous system, brain and nervous system is neuro. Linguistics is language, and programming is like programming a computer. So neuro-linguistic programming, therefore, is the language we use to program our brain like we would program a computer. It is known as the software for the human brain. When this was started in the 70s, mid-70s, Science Digest said, this is one of the biggest breakthroughs in human psychology. So this was discovered by two scientists, Richard Bandler and John Grinder, researchers who were working on their PhD. Now don't get too excited about PhD. It stands for partial head damage. I hope there are no PhDs watching me. You will come and shoot me. Thankfully, we are not in the same room now. And someone looked at me and said, no, that's not correct. My boss is a PhD and he's permanently head damaged. And Tanzi and me might be in that same thing because we are both doing PhD. I don't know how damaged we might become. But going back to Richard Bandler and John Grinder, their research was to find out the reason for human excellence. How come some people are really good at what they're doing? Olympic athletes, musicians, movie stars, teachers, preachers. What's the difference that makes the difference in them? And in this research, they found out that all these people had a set of mental techniques which they used to program their brain. All of them had certain mental techniques, and those mental techniques put together became NLP or neuro-linguistic programming. Now, what can you do with NLP? Number one, you can give up bad habits. We talked about a lot of bad habits: anger, overeating, oversleeping. Give up bad habits. You can erase bad memories if you have any. We will showcase a few of them as the session goes on. You can motivate yourself. You want to do something, maybe lack of confidence, to go and meet a customer, or to go and have a conversation with your teenage child, or go and talk to your boss about a work issue. Sometimes we don't have the confidence, we are shy. We can get rid of all those inner obstacles we have. Also, NLP will help you to build rapport with people, relationships, so that we can have a great relationship with others, so that we can have a really, really good conversation with them and have productive work with them. Now, NLP is different to positive attitude, although we said this is connected to positive attitude. Positive mental attitude was introduced by William James back in 1860. And James said that if you think positive, you can be happy and successful. I'm sure all of us agree with that. But sometimes we don't know how to. Yeah, I'm thinking positive, but I'm still not successful. So there's a gap, the how to. And NLP became the how to. And I like to recite a poem now to show the importance of positive mental attitude. I'm sure lots of you heard this poem in my YouTube channels and at my sessions, but I have a slightly different version. I've added 2 lines to make it more relevant to what we are going through now. So how many of you have watched the movie Star Wars? Maybe you can put a hand up or say yes. I'm sure lots of you have watched Star Wars. Remember the little robo? The name of the robo is R2-D2. Now, when Star Wars first came in, R2-D2 was so popular, they put replicas of it in schools, and kids would go during the interval and wind R2-D2, who would recite this poem. Kids loved it, so did the adults. So it goes this way. R2-D2, are you me too? If you think you can, you can. If you think you can, you can. You can turn that C into an A. You can make that college play. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can, you can. You can profit from inflation. You can even redirect this nation. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can, you can. You can compete with McEnroe or Austin. You can win the marathon in Boston. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can, you can. You can convert this pandemic into paradise. You can convert those lockdowns into real love. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can, you can. But if you think you can't, you can't. If you think you lose, your loss. If you think you don't, you dare not. Because out in the world, success begins in a person's will. It's all in a state of mind. You got to think high to rise before you'll ever win the prize. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can, you can. It doesn't matter if you have won before. It doesn't matter the halftime score. It's not done till the final gun. So is there one? So you can be a winner even if you're just a beginner. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can, you can. You know, it's not your pocketbook that determines your worth. It's not your color of skin at birth. Sooner or later, the person who wins is the person who thinks he can. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can, you can. So let's look at that thing positively. Thank you so much for your hand, Himel. Always nice to get an applause.
Thank you. It's brilliant, brilliant.
So with that, but we are saying in NLP, you need to know how to, not only think, how to. So Kamrul, if you...
Fantastic. So there are some comments coming in the Facebook. You know, I want to read it out for you and Tanzi for everyone. Acknowledging Natasha Kader. Natasha, you have said, I am learning the art of gratitude and not take even the smallest privilege, what the divine and the universe provides us, for granted going forward. Amazing. Trying to build the habits of having more patience, tolerance, and acceptance. Wonderful. Very nicely articulated. And MD Noor Islam Khan, he has said, I just gotten space to reshuffle my learnings in order and prepare myself for challenges coming ahead. So these are the wonderfully articulated positive things which is coming out of this pandemic. You know, so it's giving us so much space, opportunities, thinking, behaviors, building habits. Amazing. So Tanzi, so we want to hear from you. You know, maybe some poems or maybe some stories, you know, maybe your version of NLP, how you actually discovering, because a lot of us actually may not know the impact of NLP, the tools itself, how you want to divulge this among us.
Okay, so Maslow, when we all did our masters, talked about self-actualization. But the challenge was we all want to self-actualize, but how do we get there? That was the question. And NLP offers a whole range of tools. It's almost like a toolkit that helps you use different tools in order to achieve self-actualization. So for example, if you only have a hammer, you see the entire world like a nail. But if you have a hammer, if you have a spanner, if you have a screwdriver, then you can do many things. And just like that, NLP offers you many tools which can be utilized in order to make sure that you can achieve self-actualization. And that is very important. That, I mean, some of the tools will work for you, some might not work for you. So you pick the tool that works for you. And that's how I've used NLP. That's how, you know, all my, I guess lots of people who've been through NLP use it. Is that it's not about using every single tool. It's using the tools that work for you. Yeah. All right. Thanks. What are you?
I mean, is there any challenges anyone is facing? I mean, sometimes
Right.
we are hearing so many positives. Maybe we should stop it and go home because there's no way we can help you now because nobody's talking about your problems. Okay, Kamrul.
Yeah. So what are the things that you want to we're asking the audience? There are a lot of people are joining. So, and as you said that it helps to overcome the fear and also the past memories. I think we all have the past bad memories. So how to deal with this? Maybe the memories of frightening the job situations or any other things. How we can overcome the bad memories? If you can demonstrate this for everybody, maybe it could help us.
Yeah.
And also using the positive body language, how it could impact on us.
Yeah. So thank you for that invitation. So what we'll do is to showcase some NLP tools so that you can learn. So please do take notes down and ask questions you might have at the end of it. So we are going to share, Tanzi and me, the 3 basic tools of NLP. These are like the baby steps into the world of NLP. And sometimes if you just learn these words, this alone will make a huge difference in your quality of life. So the first tool is called the physiology. So physiology is body language. Our body and brain is connected, neurophysiology. And we learn certain gestures and postures based on what's happening in our mind. So if you stand in a negative way, like what I'm doing, if I come down like this and go forward, and if I can invite all of you to do it as you watch this, can you just move forward in your chair, look down, and as you look down, bite your lips and tense your face, grind your teeth, squeeze your eyes. And as you do that, I want you to feel what you feel, okay? And you can come back now before it's too late. What did you feel when you did that? Himel, you want to say, what did you feel as you did that posture? I can't hear you, your mic.
You can switch on the mic.
Yeah, I felt very down and disappointed and a little bit concerned about nothing. But I fell down for the gesture.
Down, but you don't know why, but you fell down, right?
Yeah, I fell down.
Anyone else who wants to say something? What do you feel? Aminda? Would you want to, you'll have to switch on the mic. Yeah.
Well, you start thinking a little deep when you close eyes and look down. You start thinking a little more deeper than what is your concentration here.
Fantastic. So can you see different people? Different people have different reactions in this situation. Himel fell down, some people go deep. In fact, sometimes we have some people saying, I felt happy doing it. And there's no right or wrong answer, right? Because each one of us are different down to the DNA. But generally, 80–90% people will have a negative emotion when you do that. Because once upon a time, when you had a problem, you were doing that, and the brain learned that this posture means problems, worries, concerns, anxieties. And as Himel said, for no reason you felt down. Right? Now let's do something opposite. If you bring your hands out like so, everyone, just bring the hands out. And say, wave at everyone, smile, wave at everyone. Maybe
like this, right?
Yeah, maybe
you can.
Or maybe you can give a flying kiss to everyone.
Right.
Okay.
Just do it, everyone.
Give
just
give a virtual
try
hug.
yourself. Right.
Now, when you did that, how did you feel? How did you feel? Himel, back to you again. What did you feel now?
Yeah, so it's me again.
Yeah.
I felt, first of all, I felt very kind of freedom. and confident, like I'm flying, and very confident, freedom, happiness comes into my mind.
Right.
Very good feeling coming in.
Good feeling. And I'm sure if I ask around, everyone would have had such a positive feeling. So what happened here? In 10 seconds, you went from sad to happy, and you did that by just changing your body movement. So this shows that you can choose your emotions, even though the world is collapsing around you, you can choose your emotion by choosing your body movement posture. Because why do you have to allow something uncertain affect you, which is going outside? So the tool to take back today is just put your shoulders up. Like my uncle who was in the army would say, chin up, guys. He would always say, put your chin up. That's so important. So that's the first tool, physiology. Choose the physiology and then allow the physiology to get your mind into a more positive, confident, relaxed mode. I'll now pass on to Tanzi, who would talk about the second tool, the pink elephant.
Yeah, and this is a really good time to talk about this tool as well, especially when you have your kids at home. It becomes very important. So the tool is, we call it a pink elephant, and it's about, let's practice it. So let's close your eyes for a second, and I'm going to give you a set of instructions. And what I'd like you to do is follow it. Okay? So the simple instruction is, you can think of anything you want, but don't think of a pink elephant. So you can think of anything you want, but don't think of a pink elephant. So if you open your eyes, Aroshini, if we could mute your mic. Yeah, so you open your eyes. How many of you thought of a pink elephant? Himel?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so many of us, even without, pausing with elephant. But what we said was, don't think of a pink elephant. Right? So our mind did not pick up on the word don't. Instead, it picked up on the pink elephant. So all of us saw a pink elephant. Even if we saw a black elephant or a brown elephant or a gray elephant, we first saw the pink elephant and we quickly, colored it a different color because we weren't for that. And that's the whole concept, that if you tell people what they should be doing, that's exactly what they get into. Okay? So instead of telling them, don't climb on chairs, don't climb on the table, don't worry, don't fear, instead tell them what they can do. Sit at the table, get up early, read a book, think of what you can do. And in the event that you really, really, really have to use the word don't, then ensure that you give them a reason. But the best thing is to try not to use the word. You really have to give them a reason, because our mind is a pretty good analytical it as well. Okay? And over to you, Ranjan, for the third.
So as you go away, anything you want to think without the don't. Without, even for children, instead of saying, don't sleep too much, wake up early. Or don't go and mess up the room, say keep the room clean. Whatever, even with your spouse, they don't put too much salt in the food. Just say, make the food nicely. So just take the don't out in your home. Even with your colleagues, don't make a mistake. Don't be lazy. Be powerful, be focused. So just think about some of the tools. You might be unknowingly using lots of don'ts, and because of that, your team members and your family members might be acting in a different way, which is not very productive. Or even if it's a habit, don't smoke, don't drink. You may have to, sometimes you can't say that in a positive way, because if you take the don't out, how can you say it? But still, the reason why, don't smoke. If you smoke, it will ruin your health. You'll die of cancer. So whatever instruction you have to say first, avoid the don't. And if you have to use the don't, tell the reason why, as Tanzi just told. Let me take you to the third tool in the mental tools, which is questions are the answers. And also I had a question coming from Hasnat Sadiq Sami in the watch party. And Hasnat's question is related to the tool I'm going to talk about. So you can learn something. And his question is, sir, the hesitation thing is very much mine. How can I get rid of it? I can't decide which is good and which is bad. So sometimes we are hesitating, wondering what is good, what is bad, should I do A, should I do B, should I go there, should I go here? So there's a hesitation happening. So this tool I'm going to teach you will also address what's going on. So the tool is called questions are the answers. So if I ask myself a negative question, the brain will give me a negative answer. If I ask a positive question, brain will give a positive answer. So if I ask myself, why am I so unsuccessful? The brain might say, oh, that's because you were born in a third world country. That's because your education was poor. That's because the politicians were not helping you. That's because the roads are full of traffic. That's because your father didn't love you, loved your sister better than you. But I didn't have a sister, but if I had a sister, he would have loved my sister better. Now you give all kinds of answers. Do you think that's going to help you? No way. Now what would be a better question to ask? And a better question would be, how can I be more successful? How can I be more successful? And then the brain will say, okay, focus, do your prayers, do your exercises, do some meditation, read a book, complete that examination, be nice to people, help your spouse at home, go clean the garden. I mean, there's lots of things you can do to be more successful. So questions are the answer is, instead of asking why, ask how. So again, asking why this pandemic, ask how can I make the best of this pandemic? You know, why my boss is, cutting down salaries? How can I earn more money to supplement what is being lost? Now, there's a how to always.
So Ranjan, there is a question of how.
Yeah.
How does NLP helps to gain clearer thinking and in acquiring the skills of emotional intelligence? So who wants to take this? Tanzi or Ranjan?
Yeah. So Tanzi, you can take that on. How can NLP helps you to get
Clearer thinking and
and
emotional intelligence.
And bring up emotional intelligence? So you might want to pick that maybe with another tool or maybe from transformational vocabulary. Anyway, up to you. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so one of the best ways to kind of bring out your emotional intelligence, let's talk about a tool which is called transformational vocabulary. All our emotions are brought out by words. So like Ranjan said earlier on, our mind and the words we use are constantly connected. So if we use, when I feel angry, the fact that I say I'm angry creates that. So by changing the word, I also change the emotion. Okay? So emotional intelligence is all about using emotions in a more meaningful and productive manner. So for example, and Ranjan, you can add words as well as we go on. So if we use, let's take a word that is very common these days. I am worried, and everybody, I'm worried about the economy, I'm worried about the future, I'm worried about whether I will get COVID. He is worried. But when we keep saying worry, the emotion of worrisomeness actually takes away our capacity to think clearly. And therefore, we act in ways that actually can be detrimental to us. So instead of saying I'm worried, if I say I'm looking for meaning or I'm looking for clarity, then your mind says, okay, what kind of clarity are you looking? What kind of answers are you searching? And therefore your mind shifts. And with that, the emotion also becomes a more positive emotion. Another word might be I'm confused. Yeah. And in Colombo, there's this joke that, every week we're told that next week the Colombo city open up and things fall into normal. So we kept having this over and over and over again. So at one point we were kind of confused as to whether they're ever going. But instead, if I tell myself I'm looking for answers or for clarity, maybe I'd actually call the people concerned and talk to them and see what the real issue is and how can I, take care of myself, but how can I also get my work done? So the words we use will bring out the emotions we feel. So if you have a negative word and you actually convert it into a more positive emotional word, then you automatically being emotionally more intelligent. Yeah. Ranjan, do you also want to add a few words that's quite common these days?
Yeah. So I'm confused. So if I keep saying I'm confused, you feel more confused. The brain will say, yes, you're a confused person. Let me prove you right. And you get more confused. So ask yourself, I am looking for clarity. I'm looking for clarity. Instead of being concerned or worried, look for some, be curious, which means ask more questions. What can I learn from this? How can I do it? And for me personally, it maybe I'm lonely at the moment because my family is back in Sri Lanka. I need to go back. I'm stuck here because there's no flights. So I'm lonely, but I changed that to I'm available. I'm still available to my family through a video link. I'm available to my team through video. I'm available to my friends all over the world. So suddenly I'm available, and therefore the loneliness is gone off. Or if you keep saying that I am overloaded, and in fact, because trying to be available to everyone, I'm feeling very loaded at the moment. So much work happening. I was telling CoachKamrul earlier, this is the fourth session I'm having for the day. And by the time I finish this, I would have been doing sessions for 8 hours from morning. Suddenly I am overloaded. And these are clients. I'm actually running workshops for them, a client in Sri Lanka. I'm running this. But I'm just telling myself I'm over demanded rather than overloaded. I'm demanded my time. There's a demand for my time, my value, my effort I can give you. So I think those are some of the positive words you can use. And
Ranjan, if I can add something on to that, and especially for those who are at home and you've got young kids, and if you're a mom or a dad, you've also got to deliver results at work, and you've got all those, and then the children need demand for your time and attention. So if you actually look at it from I am over demanded instead of overwhelmed, it makes total mind shift that I am valued, I'm needed, I'm loved, I'm cared for. And that's an awesome feeling to have, instead of getting angry when your kid wants a glass of water and saying, oh my God, you're a nuisance, I'm so overwhelmed with this workload, which is not very emotionally intelligent. Okay? Sorry.
Right. Ranjan, there is a question relevant with this. Mr. Titul Dotto asking, please tell something about time and stress management.
Okay. All right.
If you want to address that, yeah.
And I think connected to that, there's another question. So I'll combine the two. Aminda has asked a question. Some has the fear of the future, no matter what I'm blessed with today, how to overcome this. Okay. Yes, I'm blessed about certain things, but future might be different. And then that causes stress. So your question, Kamrul, which was asked by Mr. Tipu, is about how do I manage stress? Again, starting with transformational vocabulary, you start understanding why is, so NLP uses acronyms and vocabulary. So if you take the word fear, The word fear stands for false education appearing real, or as Kamrul Bhai says, false emotion appearing real. So that's the fear. It's a false education you have, thinking that future will be bad, I'll not have a job, I'll not have business. It's a false, this is not real. How do you know? And this is all that negativity you have taken into your head, which is falsely playing as real. So first thing is, base your thinking on real facts, real information. And that's what is there presently. Also about the future, believe in the abundance. Believe that Almighty Allah, God, is always there providing for us. There is abundance. If you do good things for this world, you will be blessed with the abundance which is required. So get rid of the false education and focus on what you have. And specifically talking about stress, answering the question, if I'm to give a definition about stress, the definition for stress is the negative interpretation of pressure. Stress is the negative interpretation of pressure. All of us have pressure, and pressure is good. All the people who have done something in this world, they were pressured. Take Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi, Mother Teresa, who is now Saint Teresa. Take the cricket captain of your team, maybe Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, India, the cricket captain. They are highly pressured. Take the prime ministers of all the country. Take the chief of the World Health Organization. Everyone is pressured, but they are not stressed, because if they get stressed, they can't think straight. They can't decide. And they would tell themselves, I'm blessed with responsibility. I'm not stressed. I have all these responsibilities. Again, positive words, vocabulary. So to answer the question, when you have a pressurized situation, say, this is good for me, because this is helping me to serve people. This is helping me to grow, helping me to get stronger, and all that. So those are basically some of the simple ways you would deal with stress. Tell that you are blessed with responsibility, appreciate the pressure. Remember, a diamond is a piece of coal put under pressure. And that's what it is all about. I hope that answers the question.
All right, Ranjan, adding on to that,
yeah.
Something that mindfulness helps. Dr. Kabad Singh from the University of Massachusetts, when he actually defined mindfulness, he said, it was paying attention to the present moment purposefully, as if your life depended upon it. So one of those uncertainties, fears, stressors that come along this kind of situation is that, okay, I've set up goals, I've got a business that I'm running, I'm employed, what's going to happen in the future? Well, the only thing you and I can do, and leave the rest to Almighty or God or the universal energies or whatever higher power you believe in, is to focus on what can I do at this moment that's going to help me in the future, because this is the only moment I have anyway. So worrying about the future or regretting the past actually doesn't do anything to us. We can only do something good at this moment. Yeah. Over to you, Ranjan.
Yeah. And that just quickly reminds me, before I go to the next question, a nice little quote, which you may have heard, which says, yesterday was history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift. That's why we call it the present. Or telling it in a more financial terms, yesterday was a canceled check. Tomorrow is a promissory note. Today is ready cash. Take it. So that's what is important, what's happening today. Over to Kamrul Bhai. Anything?
So looking forward, any other question, comments, so that we can address? Mr. Rajab saying that presenting things honestly is of prime importance. It's just a question. So is it a prime importance to address and to acknowledge the things which is going on? Honestly, yeah.
Well, Tanzi would like to take that. I think it's an important question. We can
maybe he's trying to refer that the crisis is happening. So how would we address this importance and impact?
I understand. Yeah, so in one of our other sessions, a lady really brought up a very interesting thought. And, what we do is we wake up in the morning and we go online. So we're on social media, we're on news alerts, we go and watch, all these news channels, and it paints a very, painful picture. There's going to be an economic slowdown, so many patients died. It's almost like, a competition to prove how many died in the last day. And, it's like, okay, so this guy, Italy beats Spain. Now, US has beat everybody else. So those are actually not the facts. The reality is that there are so many others dying from things like cancer, car accidents, accidents during production. And that's a bigger number. So what we call reality is what we are being fed. So the best thing I would say right now is to go on a news diet. Pick the wonderful things that are happening. And that's the reality that, people are reaching out. And even in Bangladesh, I've seen social media posts where people are reaching out to the poor, giving, from whatever they have. Health workers, working overtime. People in countries like Italy, they came out to their balconies and sang and, played music and kept the energy going. People stood out near their gates and clapped as the, health workers went home after a long, long day's work. So, and that's humanity. That's human beings being human beings, not human doings. So the truth is what we siphon out from all that news we get. And we can choose either to paint a very grim, ugly picture, or we can paint a beautiful picture, again with facts, that there is still hope of goodness in this world.
Yeah, so to add to that, a lot of people about the health workers and people who are doing good are really helping them. I was very happy to see, I don't know whether there's anywhere else, Uber has offered a service called Uber Medics, where they give free Uber rides to medical frontline staff if you had the ID, and they're allocating 8.5 million rupees in Sri Lanka alone on Uber Medics. You can select Uber Medics if you are a healthcare worker. Qatar Airways is giving 1 lakh tickets, economic class tickets for medical health workers. If you know anyone, just send their details to Qatar Airways and they will help them. So there are a lot of people giving in this situation. And like we are trying to give of my time, Tanzi's time in these sessions. We have learning programs going on. And I think at this moment it's about giving because what we have doesn't belong to us. It belongs to the world, to the universe. So you need to give it away. And then I think you will get what you require to have a comfortable life.
Right. I mean, Bangladesh also in Grameen Phone, they're actually giving back, 100 crores worth of services, 100 crore taka in various formats and forms.
Yeah.
That's really amazing. So these days also, Ranjan and Tanzi, one thing is happening that is because of we have ample of time. So one thing we also having it as a reflection. At the same time, a lot of people also saying that they're passing very idle time. They don't have work to do. They don't have things much to do. So thereby they're falling into, more into sleep, irregular habits, bad habits, those things also happen at the same time. And as we know that once we build our habit will build us. How would you say that NLP could be used to build good habit into this time?
Okay, so perhaps I'll give two concepts. One is to, and we talked about purpose at the beginning. this might be a good time to figure out what is your purpose in life. Why are you in this world? And you can use a lot of time doing that to answer that question. Again, a little bit of the concept of purpose. Purpose means, why am I here? And generally, we are here to be of service to this world, to contribute to the process of life. This entire life is an ecosystem. So what is our role in the process of life to make this world a better place? Is it to damage the ozone layer? Is it to poison the rivers? Is it to create psychological conditions in children or our co-workers? Is that our purpose? Isn't that the way we were working, a lot of us? Is our purpose to neglect our families? No, there is something positive we have to do with our life. But other than human beings know it very clearly. A mango tree knows that its job is only to produce mangoes, not produce oranges or apples. A honeybee knows its job is to go and pollinate flowers, not to go and catch fish like a kingfisher. But we human beings, again, are blessed with something, but we are confused by society, by parents, by teachers. Maybe we are born with an artistic mind, but we are forced to go and become a doctor. Or we are born with a mind which can do a particular type of work. We have, no, that's not an acceptable job, go do this one. But if each one of us found that our real passion and purpose and worked on it. So let's keep thinking about, again, we don't have time to go into the purpose process, which we will give you an opportunity later on how to do that. You can, of course, go to my blog and read it, ranjansilva.blog. You will see a lot of things about how to find your purpose. But basically ask yourself, what am I good at? Where have I struggled in life? What have I learned? What concerns me about life? And if you figure out your purpose, then to overcome the idle time, you can start doing things which is more purposeful. When you're doing purposeful things, you don't feel the time going. So maybe you can start reading things in line with your purpose. You can go take an online course. You can connect with all your friends or old teachers, have a conversation with them, but do it in a scheduled manner. Have a diary, make sure you wake up in the morning. You know, when I wake up, I would go have my showers and do my meditation and all that. And I dress up. Right now I'm in home, but I've dressed up for the evening. Put a nice shirt on as if you're going somewhere, because I know I'm coming to this. It's almost as if I dress up to go to work. So I'm really living my life as if it's, something purposeful. Do your exercises, do the meditation, do your prayers. All these are purposeful activity. So if you could schedule yourself in that manner, you will then get into good habits. It's a great opportunity to build good habits. And perhaps Tanzi can add to it a little bit about scheduling and...
Ranjan, I have a question, please. Yeah?
Yes, please. Yeah.
My question is, as you said, that make your life purposeful. It varies from culture to culture. And in our culture, it's a male-dominant society. And, male is the breadwinner of the family. And females are supposed to do household chores in most of the houses in Pakistan. So females are not being led to think what is the purpose of their life, other than raising the children, other than cooking food, other than taking care of husband stuff and all that. So if a female just came to know that this is the purpose of her life, then don't you think people won't allow her to grow and to excel? They don't let you, if such a condition is there, then how to manage it? Please guide.
It's a good question. Tanzi, you want to take it first, then I can add something to that.
Thank you.
So I agree that each culture has their own connotation of the role of the man and the woman. Now, again, it's about a very simple tool that we spoke about also during the Pakistan session, was about building relationship, about pacing and leading, where if let's say the wife walks into the world of the husband and understand what his purpose in life is, his decisions are, his, purpose for being. And then at the end of it, when she has understood and she also begins to be supportive, also says, and he says, you're so supportive, it's nice. And then she has this conversation about her purpose. So the fact that you married or in any culture does not mean that a woman loses, purposefulness. And a part of our purposefulness, no matter what, is going to be to nurture. But that conversation, keeping that conversation going in a very loving and caring manner, and stepping into the other person's world and then inviting them into your world is extremely important. You have to, a marriage does not end on the day that you get married. You, just like you work with your employees, developing and growing them, the two people in a marriage also have to work on that marriage constantly. It needs a lot of work.
Absolutely. So Ranjan, I think there are a lot of comments, but I think the NLP has actually great tools to address in the areas of concern that we have in our life. So would you just take us through about the program that we have designed to address all of these questions, the issues that we deal, and also how can we build our future based on that? So I'm sure this 10 weeks of the program has a lot of tools loaded already for all of us. It would be helpful for all of us if you can just take us through the program briefly, and so that everyone else can understand that what's there into it inside.
Fantastic, thank you. Before I do that, I'm tempted to add one more point to Asma's question, which is such an important one. Sometimes, now once you go through this process of what you love to do and where have you struggled, what your concerns are, you will find a particular purpose that you want to live. Now, it's not about taking a jump there immediately. How can you take baby steps to get there? And as you keep taking the baby steps, your life becomes more and more interesting and meaningful as well. And as Tanzi said, it could be building rapport with your family members, your husband, others, and maybe using communication tools to convince them. Maybe starting to read about that area. Maybe start building networks, even if you can't go out, given the culture, maybe within the, limitations, starting building the networks. And sometimes you might find the purpose is actually to be a world-class mother and be a role model to other moms and maybe, or to be a good working mother. So it could be a bit, sometimes the role you have got into now is again, Almighty's ways to say that perhaps you think you're struggling in this, but you can actually find freedom in this role. Like Viktor Frankl said in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, you can imprison me, you can do anything, but you can't take away my freedom for thinking. And I think we heard the same thing from the brave Pakistani teenager who went on to win the Nobel Prize, everyone knows. Same kind of thinking. So I think it's about taking those steps without upsetting the apple cart, and taking it gently, So thank you, Kamrul Bhai, for talking about and asking us to talk about the program. So we have designed a program which goes on for 10 weeks. We used to run an in-house program, in-room program called Mastery of Self through NLP. So Mastery of Self is mastering, taking full control over your emotions, over your habits, over your relationships, over the way you feel, over your destiny, practically. How do you master your destiny? And to do that, there's a set of tools, NLP, we talked a little bit about it. Now, since we can't do in-house, we have designed the online version of the same thing. Our Master of Self main program is normally 4 days, which is 2 days we run, which is more the personal excellence aspect. And then after about a month, we run the next 2 days, which is the interpersonal aspect of it. And then we have the advanced, which goes into deeper levels. So we have taken the first 2 days, the personal excellence aspect, and converted into mastery of self. And we call it the expert level. You become an expert about yourself. Then you later on will come with another 10 days, which is the achiever level, which is the next 2 days of the in-room session. And then finally, we will have the intellectual level, which is the advanced. So it's a rebranding of it. And in the Mastery of Self session, there'll be 10 weekly courses, 90 minutes each. So 90 minutes you come, and one course, for example, is about understanding yourself, your strengths, your improvement areas, your emotions, you know, what ticks you off and what kicks you off. All those we will go into detail, and we'll really go into a deep understanding of yourself using some psychometric tools and various things so you can get to know yourself. So it's a very interactive session where you will be talking with each other and doing. And then we will move on to understanding something about purpose. We'll help you in one session to write your total purpose statement and start planning your strategy for life. We'll learn concepts like love and happiness. We'll learn specific NLP tools to erase bad memories, give up bad habits, handle criticism, to build relationships, to overcome deep-seated psychological barriers. So you have an entire toolkit you will be learning over 10 weeks. And after every week, you will have homework for a week where you can actually practice the tools you have learned. And during that time, you will be in a community where you can talk to each other, connect with each other. You can come to us for guidance. And that's the process which is there. So we invite you to consider joining, and in order to really make it affordable for everyone, because we do also understand whilst we want to grow, there's also limitations because of income issues and various things. We have kept this at a very low price, which is less than 50% of what you would anyway pay, and just a $60, and you can just convert that and do into your own currency. And I'm sure when you go to out for one meal, you might be spending the $60. So it is even cheaper than a meal paid at a hotel or a restaurant to come and enjoy our meal. We have a great menu set up for you to come and enjoy. So we invite you, and I think Prarthana has already written down the 2 websites. You can see it at ranjandesilva.com and tanziusoof.com. You go into the websites, you will see our details, register. We are starting it on the 30th. We were first going to start it this weekend, but then with Eid coming up the next weekend, we thought this is the more spiritual time. So we've gone on to 30th. Once that is over, we'll be starting off. So please do join us. We'll be happy. And if you're from Bangladesh, you'll be joining through our organization. You can pay through bKash, which is the most convenient way here. And of course, there are other options of paying by credit card, PayPal, bank transfer, and all that. So that's the program. If you have any questions, you can ask about it.
Sure. I think this is a wonderful way to begin a course, because earlier the program was usually the 4 days, and the pricing was about $28,000, which is almost $350. So now, because of this, all of this, and how we actually can bring these tools, techniques, process, and methods so that we can use it into this difficult time and convert into the happiness, or also the building the habits, and also creating a purposeful life, or seeing our life a meaningful one. And how can we actually bring the fulfillment in our life? So there are a lot of things. The pressure is happening, the stress is causing the dissatisfaction, the hopelessness, and also these are causing the depression as well. So these are wonderful tools as well to overcome the frustration, the distress, the anxiety, anxiousness, and making our life more meaningful and stay focused. Because this is also one thing is happening today. We are losing the focus at the same time because we don't know actually what to do, where to go, how to find it, what is going to happen. A lot of things. We are thinking of a lot of options and ways, and that's fine. We can keep in searching. At the same time, it's always better to have the tools, techniques, and process and methods which can help us, guide us to stay on track, to be focused, and also yet we can find our path that is naturally coming out from inside out. This actually can bring from inside and out. And I'm sure this guided path, which has been time and again tested over the last 20, 30, 40 years, since 1980s, right? Richard Bandler has introduced these wonderful programs. And this is in Bangladesh also last 20 years. So this is what I have, we have thought about it. And we personally, definitely we have gone through this in-house program. So until we can bring it to in-house, I think this is a better chance to capitalize it. Tanzi, if you want to add with this, the program details, something from your part, please go ahead and add into it.
Well, the simple thing I can add on, I guess, is that, I've used the NLP tools. I'm a working mom, a student, a career woman, and the tools have worked well for me. And my life's been very meaningful and purposeful. So all I can say from a practical point of view is those tools work. No matter what the situation is, those tools work. So that's what I would like to add on.
So yeah, that's absolutely, Ranjan.
So I think in order to conclude, I would invite Tanzi to say something, concluding words, including a poem for ladies, and then I will conclude with a poem for men, so that we depart with a positive note. Yeah, over to you, Tanzi.
Sure.
Yes.
Kenji.
All right. So, and this is for all the ladies in the room and the ladies in the life of the gentleman in this room. And it's called, the poem itself is called For Ladies. And it says, mirror, mirror on the wall, what's the meaning of it all? Is there anything more to life than just being a loving wife? I love my children dearly, but would they just come by yearly? Day by day, I go to the store, I cook, I clean, I wash their clothes. Will my dreams ever come true? Aren't they also some value too? I have a body, I have a soul, I have a dream, I have a goal. I want to earn, I want to reach, I want to learn, I want to teach. I need a higher education, a chance to guide this nation. I am not rebelling, it's a higher need compelling. I need to fly out of my cocoon to set my footprint on the moon. I like to see the world a better place, blessed with my special female grace. I don't want to be a man. I want to be the woman I am. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Help me, help him hear my call. The only thing that I want to see is the freedom for me to really be me. And it's so important that, purpose helps us become free and to be the real us, the authentic us. Yeah, and with that, let me hand over to CoachKamrul.
I think Ranjan is going to finish it. And before that, Ranjan is concluding. I want to thank everyone.
So I'll do the poem and then Kamrul can do the closing. Yeah.
Okay, Ranjan, go ahead the poem, please.
Kamrul, would you like to do the closing remarks? Yeah, because you're hosting this. I will do the poem and you can do the closing.
Sure.
That will be nice. Yeah. Okay, so my poem is for all the gentlemen in the room as well as for the men in the lives of the ladies in the room. The name of the poem is The Determination of That Extraordinary Man. Like Tanzi started with mirror, mirror on the wall. Guys, we need to have a tougher job to do, which is a crystal ball. So look at a crystal ball and say, crystal ball, oh crystal ball, what's the meaning of it all? Will my empire rise and fall? Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Sometimes I'm really scared just to be really me. I work, I earn the daily bread, I watch TV, I go to bed. Year after year, I live on. And before I know the year is gone. I know this is not a practice game. I know there is no Martyrs Hall of Fame. There are days even when the heroes are blown, but every day is the Super Bowl. Winning is a habit, so is losing. Losers live in glass houses doing nothing but mourning. Losers blame bad luck when they lose. They hide behind drugs and booze. Losers know how to procrastinate, where winners know how to accelerate. Winners know how to win, not yesterday, not tomorrow. Winners know that winning is beginning, beginning is half done. I dream it now, I need it now, I'll drive it now, and I'll do it now. And then I will see the picture of me, the person I really want to be. I think I can, and I know I can, be my greatest coach and fan. And when I love myself, I get the strength to give to the world my special gift. And when I give my gift and get exhausted, then I become that extraordinary man, me. And that's for all the gentlemen in the room. Please go become extraordinary. And of course, help ladies, help your men to be extraordinary by helping in the process. And thank you so much, Kamrul, for hosting us. Thank you all of you for joining us on Zoom, on Facebook, wherever. It's been a fantastic evening. And over to you for your final comments.
Thank you for creating this experience, and with what you said, the extraordinary man and extraordinary women. This is just simple invitation. Just hold that extraordinary man and women image inside your mind. And because this is what matters most. Once you have the image, and then you can start working from where you are right now to where you want to go to become extraordinary inside your mind, and then bring it out to the outside world as well. So creating this extraordinary image is most important, that we want to create the life that we deserve. So that is where we have the everything for you ready to take you through into the next 10 weeks. And we believe that this program can bring the extraordinary things that is actually lying inside you. So let's just join in, and also let us know what we can do more for you, to serve you, to create the happiness and the success from inside out. So thank you for joining and staying with us tonight. All the amazing souls in the Facebook. I mean, for your question, comments, and also your love, and also the support and inspiration. Definitely, it matters most to us. And also the participant inside the Zoom session. It has been lovely to have all of you here, and your participation means a lot. And definitely, we're looking forward to have you inside the course in a couple of weeks' time. Until then, take care and hold your image till you bring it out.
Thank you.
Extraordinary man or woman. Everyone, thank you for your time and effort.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We are just going to bring. We are just going to send another program in a couple of minutes' time. That's for this business communication for our student. So join in, whoever wants to join the next program in 5 minutes' time. Thank you. Stay well, and God bless you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All the best.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes, thank you.